Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode.
On the one hand, we did lose the game, but on the other, we had 67% possession and 495 passes to 175. Woo! Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in a virtual room filled with lions. I've got Ollie. I've got Chris. It's the Friday show on a Friday, and I don't even get chance. Do I? I put that tweet up that there might be breaking news on the show. Oh! A player is leaving Chelsea. Trevor Chalobah is going to Crystal Palace on a season-long loan. No buy option or obligation to buy. Chelsea have accepted it. David Ornstein's just reported it.
Wow. Here we go. Very nice.
I think that is a good move for him, I think.
Yeah, it's a good move for him. I think it'll get him some playing time, and he'll, eventually then he'll probably end up leaving, maybe next summer or in January, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, good for Palace as well.
Good for him. Awful
it's a good pickup
for me.
For Palace.
You'll find out why it's awful for me later, but go on, Chris.
I was thinking about this, though, and I was thinking, do you reckon that the reason why we haven't sold him this summer, because let's face it, he's been up for sale since,
for months,
May.
Yeah.
So do you think we haven't sold him this summer so we can pure profit him next summer?
I think the reason,
yeah,
I think we were always going to sell him, yes. I think we were always going to sell him, yeah.
I'm thinking maybe the idea was to loan him out this summer so he's a pure profit sale next summer. Because otherwise, we wouldn't really have had anyone left, would we, to sell next summer?
There's always someone. It's depressing, but you're right.
Mikey, hit the intro. Come on.
Well, okay. Well, I've just said welcome back, everyone. I thought everyone's welcome back. Everyone's in.
Yeah, so we're welcome.
What are you looking forward to this weekend?
There we go. That's what we were looking for. After all that, I'm having a quiet one. So
that is excellent. That is great. Come on, ask me what I'm doing the weekend. What are you doing? Nothing. 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 Why are you asking me that? Doing nothing.
I'll be working, but I'll also, I'll go for a walk or something. Yeah, really interesting. What about you, Chris?
I'm playing in an all-day charity netball tournament tomorrow.
Oh wow! Okay.
So my wife organises a charity netball tournament every year in memory of one of her friends who died. It's like a mixed netball tournament. So I play in that. That's like six hours of netball.
Wow.
In
True
the heat.
athlete. True athlete we have on our show.
And then I've got a game then Sunday morning. So I'm going to be knackered by Sunday night. If you don't hear from me, if I'm not on Monday, I've died.
Chris will be extra positive come Monday.
Basically, Chris is having another one of those weekends where he needs a weekend to get over his weekend.
Yeah,
you're damn right.
But it's for a good reason, though. It's for a good reason.
Good cause.
Yeah. For me, hey, you might have missed it. It's the final Premier League weekend for 2 weeks because we're going to head into one of those international breaks.
Come
on! It's the first of the season. But it gives me time to write up 2 blockbuster scripts for you all. Yes, listeners, I can confirm very early that on the next Friday show, we're going to reveal for the first time this season our Chelsea player rankings. Naturally, I don't think my number 2 is going to be in there anymore. He's gone.
That's exciting.
It is. And then on the following Monday, maybe, depending, we might go for all our Conference League phase teams. We don't know yet. But anyway, inspired by a movie I watched this week about a snake that doesn't like people, so it ate them, which is Anaconda 1997, if you wondered. I feel we could take a look at some things we all feel could swallow our season up and how we could beat that snake and stop them from happening. There's a lot out there. There's a lot out there, isn't there? I guess we've got to hit. We do hit the news, which means I have to hit the news intro. But But we can't really go into the elevator of Chelsea news because it's deadline day and everything happens every day, every second.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is we can't really talk about anything. This is the worst episode.
It's awful.
It's always a bad episode when it's deadline day because we can't talk about anything.
So basically, everything you're about to hear is out of date instantly. We haven't signed Jadon Sancho, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin has signed. Probably, I don't know. What I do know is Lukaku has gone. That is official now, and as you could tell by the Chelsea statement, 2 paragraphs. No wishing of luck. No goodbye, thank you. No. Tino Angerin barely played for us. He got a lot. He got a big few paragraphs and a goodbye, well wishes too. Read into that as you wish. Read into that as you wish. More. Chelsea were offered the opportunity to enter the bidding for Mamardashvili. Apparently we turned it down to show faith in Sanchez. I feel that's a little bit of a nothing. I don't believe that's true.
I hope it isn't.
I really hope it isn't.
I feel that's clickbait, if I'm honest. Cole Palmer,
Jesus.
No shock with him. Colwill, no real shock there. But Madueke, well deserved. They've all been called up for the England squad. I'm just literally everything at the moment is about Osimhen and Sancho, which Sancho came out of nowhere. I feel this morning. We'd heard rumours.
It's weird that it was weird though that we're still at this very moment, at least, still planning to try and go for Sancho, but we're not trying to give United Sterling or Chilwell. I find that really odd.
Is weird.
Like, what are we doing them a favour for? Taking off a player off their hands who, by all accounts, hasn't been good for ages.
Well, it's a standalone deal, isn't it? That's what I read all day, and there was then Carney Chukwuemeka in a separate deal. Bloody hell, I couldn't keep up with all that.
Do you think the Victor Osimhen deal, that deal sums up the transfer window for me?
Which one?
Well, imagine if we sign him tonight before the deadline, right? Everyone should be really excited. He's a proven number 9. It's in an area that we need. He's probably the best one on the market. So everyone should be really excited. But by the time it happened, everyone would be so fucking bored of hearing about it that everyone would just go, okay, yeah, great. And everyone would just move on. Like the transfers now, like all I've heard all day is about him. So it's like, if it
you're already sick of him
now,
and he's not even
I'm
here
already
yet.
bored of it, yeah. I'm bored of him. He's just not even our player. And I'm bored of him.
You've got a bit of a point, because we all joked last year with Caicedo the how many kits have we seen him photoshopped into?
Oh my god! I genuinely erased from my memory how long that saga was until you just said that.
I would be happy if we signed him. I would be, but it's been going on for so long. I feel like this has gone on for 2 seasons. And then there was talk, would we get Ivan Toney? I'm disappointed. He couldn't give a shit what I think, but I'm disappointed he's gone to Saudi Arabia. I thought he could have done well in a top 4, top 6 side. And then someone did point out, Mike, have you looked at his penalties? Look at his stats without penalties, and you think, ooh, that's not a great record. We've already got penalty takers at Chelsea who are very good at that.
Yeah.
I was surprised that he's going just because gambling's not legal in Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
maybe that's why he's going.
It's like rehab.
Yeah, it's a really well paid rehab.
I'm still shocked. I am still shocked that he's left the Premier League. Oh, Sky Cover. I've got to hit the breaking news drop again. Boring. Oh, let's have a look. What's it saying? I haven't even read the tweet. I think it's now looking a little bit unlikely that Victor Osimhen is coming to Chelsea. They've been pushing hard to get him, but the stumbling block is his wages. There you go. There's an update.
That's basically been the story all day.
It's just repeating what we've already. I feel like it. I thought it might get done, but if he doesn't want to take the pay cut, he doesn't want to come. Let's be clear.
I still think he might end up. We might still end up getting him, because I don't know, the way I look at it, right? So he either stays at Napoli, right? In which case, nobody's ever paying him a good wage again when he goes, right? Because he wants too much now. And when he goes on and becomes a free agent, nobody's going to pay him what he's worth. If he goes to Saudi, of course he gets the pay, but his career is dusted. I feel like we're like the healthy middle ground in that way, but maybe he doesn't see it the same way.
Are you shocked that no other clubs have actually, other than PSG, but no other clubs have actually made a move for him?
Well, he
I
was
think
priced
this
out
is
of the
the new-
market for a long time, wasn't he? By Napoli, and now
True.
it's only just become more relevant. And us and PSG were the only real teams in Europe that needed a proper striker like that. I think.
And I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see less and less transfers over the next few years because no one's got any money, and even if they have, they're not allowed to spend it. Like, look at
Everyone's just
Newcastle.
passing the same 20 quid around, aren't they?
Yeah, Newcastle are the richest club in the world, and they've bought no one.
And they've had to
Because they
sell
can't-
Minter
Yeah.
and Anderson. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I-
ridiculous. Like it is boring now.
I think,
and I think transfer windows are only going to get worse.
Osimhen's in a hard place here because obviously if he doesn't join Chelsea, which is the only European club in for him, then he stays at Napoli where, look, Conte's got his
won't
son
play.
now. Conte's got his son. He's happy. And of course, there's that wage issue. We don't know what Lukaku's on. I don't really care. But we know that he's now number one over there. However, Monday is the Saudi Pro League deadline day. I think I would be very confident in saying, which we refer to on Monday when I'm wrong, that Osimhen, if he doesn't join Chelsea, he joins a Saudi pro club before Monday.
Yeah,
He
I
has
think
no real
yeah,
choice.
100%.
He has no choice. And then it's the argument, which again is nothing to do with us anymore. It's not our problem. Would you be happy to sign him after a year in that league? You could go, of course I would. Well, if that's the case, why has no one touched Mitrovic? Because he's very good. He went to Saudi, but he's not best in the world, of course not. But he went to the Saudi Pro League and then he came back in for Euros and he didn't look a great player.
not many
know what it
players who
is?
do go to Saudi come
Yeah,
back
it's a-
and
it's a problem.
and have the same career that they did when they left. That's the thing. That's what I was talking about. Like, so if he stays at Napoli after 6 months of not playing, no one is ever going to pay him the wages he wants. And in Saudi, he'll get that wage, but the deal after that, he'll either have to stay in Saudi or just accept that his wages are just going to come down again. So,
Well, yeah.
I think the problem with the Saudi Pro League for players is it's only ever Ronaldo you hear about. All the other players that have gone over there, I never hear about them. Like it's so
That's a good point.
unpublicized as a league that when players go there, you literally forget they exist. Like Karim
Yeah.
Benzema is still playing over there. I looked at his record the other day. He's actually got a decent record over there, but you never hear of him because it's Ronaldo and that's it. No other player over there gets publicized. So you are right. If Osimhen goes over there, he could go over there and score 50 goals. Everyone will forget he exists.
yeah, like look
Yeah.
look at like Neymar and Mane. Like they're both over there as well. And
Yep.
neither of them even get so much of a shout out these days.
Nope.
So
I think
there is
Neymar
something to be
obviously
said about that. You know,
yeah, Neymar obviously is injured, so yeah. However, one player that went over there, which we had, oh my word, everybody wanted him. Napoli wanted him. Gabri Vega. Don't hear
Yeah.
about him. You don't.
that's true.
Like,
Yeah,
even no clubs have even this summer gone. Like last summer, everyone wanted him. Well, within reason, everybody wanted him. He left, and then it was like, meh. It could be very different, but Alex Teixeira comes to mind. Liverpool wanted him so bad. He then went, no, I'll take the money. And he went to, I can't remember what club he went to in China, but no one then bothered with him. They were like, no, I'd rather not.
do you know what is
Basically, the Saudi Pro League is the Bermuda Triangle of football.
You'll go
things go in there
and
and they never
disappear.
return?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, no
But, you know,
one's made moves for anyone in that league, have they?
What is what's one league that's a bit more sort of like people go over there and it's becoming more respected and there's a bit more money in it now is obviously the Turkish league. And of course that league's deadline day isn't for a little while longer yet either. So, you know, we might still see outgoings after today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just looking back at last season's top scorers in the Saudi Pro League and Ronaldo obviously 35, but then Mitrovic at 28. And you would think, oh, maybe. No one's interested, which again shocks
You'd
me.
think, you would imagine like a club that is like scrapping for relegation in like the Bundesliga would take him. wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
exactly.
But I suppose at the moment, like nobody can afford his wages, can they? That's the
Well,
problem.
that is a
you know?
very good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Well, for now, we'll move to what we can definitely talk about, and that is Chelsea's Conference League opponents. They're now known. We play 6 teams in the league phase of the draw. No, I don't understand the new format. Yes, I hate it. And no, I don't like the new Champions League anthem. But that don't matter because we don't play in no competition. Probably never will again.
There's a new Champions League anthem.
Yeah, have you not heard it?
Don't
They've
like-
slightly altered
like
the
Mate,
violins.
it sounds exactly the same. They've added a trumpet in. I think that's about it.
It just feels like you've you've looked.
It's a shame. I hate trumpets.
It's the classic. You've got, you've got the Mona Lisa, and you thought, I just think it just needs and then you start messing with perfection, and you spoil it, and then you just want to take it down and burn it because it's just spoiled. Champions League. Look, I'd rather we're not in it. Because I don't want to be in the night. No, it's rubbish now. Shit.
Listen, this might be a bit of a Monday hot take on a Friday, but the Mona Lisa is a mid painting.
Oh, whoa.
Overrated.
Overrated.
Whoa.
Fully overrated. You go if you go to the Louvre in Paris, it's like roughly the size of a postage stamp for a start. You can't even see it. Everyone's crowded around it. Everyone's trying to take photos of it. Yeah, it's pointless.
Whoa.
Give me Starry Night any day.
well, what I can guarantee, I know who we're facing. We're facing, first of all, we've got Ghent. They're a mid-table Belgian team. Heidenheim.
Right. They used to be in the Champions League from time to time, didn't they?
They did. Heidenheim, they're a Bundesliga team that were a bit of a breakout last year. They were newly promoted, finished in 8th.
Near Munich, I think, is where their team is.
I like them. I like saying the name as well. Astana, they're a Kazakhstan team that are currently mid-table, but they got 4 games in hand. They finished second last season, so on the road that is, and that's gonna be interesting. Shamrock,
that'd be a hell of a away day. That one.
Well, Shamrock Rovers, they got absolutely taken out the back by Pout. To be fair, in the Europa qualifiers, 6-0 aggregate loss. But hey, 5th in the Irish League, so they'll be taking on them. Panathinaikos, they're a proper Champions League team. They were. I mean, they finished.
Throwback.
Remember them?
Yeah, they finished. I think were they in the Champions League last season?
No, not last season. But they're usually in the Europa League. Like, they're there or thereabouts. They're always in Europe. But I think the Greek league's not very strong, is it?
Not anymore. I'm gonna have to double check that. No,
who's the other one? Olympiakos. They're the other Greek.
Olympiakos, yeah.
They're the current holders, aren't they?
Oh, and Athens, AEK Athens, right?
I'm just gonna check that current season. Panathinaikos, 23-24. Were they in the Champions League? Come on, Wikipedia. They finished. They were. They're in the playoff round. They got to the Europa League group stage. Okay, it doesn't count. So yeah, they've got some decent players, and we are going to Greece, so that's always going to be a tough one. And then we play finally Noah, which I'm really glad we do. I saw that team, was like, oh, who are they? Well, they finished second, listener, in the Armenian Premier League last year. They beat KF Shkendaja. Yep. And Slimer Wanderers. I've wrote the pronunciations out if you wondered, and I'm struggling to even read my own writing. AK Athens, I got that one. And then they squeaked out a win recently against MFK Ruzombarok.
Well, as long as he doesn't bring his arc with him, I think we'll be okay.
I'm just waiting for the Sun over here to do some kind of headline. You know they will. They will enjoy it. They will enjoy it. But
can you imagine if it ends 2-2? 2-2. The headlines write themselves.
I mean, we might do a preview of each team like we did back in the old days, but we'll leave that up to you listeners. Let us know. It's just it's not a group stage, and I did watch the Champions League draw, but it was so boring I turned it off. Because
I watched Inside Out 2 instead.
It's just Ronaldo pressing a button.
In
That's
fairness,
all it was.
I've always hated the draw anyway. I actually think the new format's going to be better.
Maybe. I don't know.
I actually don't mind it. It's not the hardest thing in the world to understand. I don't really like the league format of it. But
Super League. Well, before we head to winners and losers, we do have a developing story. So I have a new sound drop for developing news, and that is I'll skip that on the 15th,
Captain America.
on the 15th of. I want to let that. I'm going to let that finish if we ever have that again. But on the 15th of August, we had our predictions episode, and I'm really struggling to set this all up because I didn't load up all the clips. So people are now thinking, get there in the end. But I'm nearly there. I'm nearly there, listener. I've found it now. So we're going to go a little bit back in time because on the 15th of August.
My first one is Yao Felix.
Okay, now.
And my second one is actually another Jorge Mendes client, Manuel Ugarte. I think both of them will move this summer. And I think both teams who receive those players will be worsened for it.
I think that's the first time anyone's ever picked players that actually haven't signed.
Haven't moved yet, yeah.
But they will. They will.
Okay.
I'm counting on it.
All right, player. So, we all remember that. We laughed at you, didn't we, Ollie?
Who's laughing now, ladies and gentlemen? Ulstradamus in the building.
João Felix did in fact sign for Chelsea, and Manuel Ugarte has pretty much signed for Manchester United. It's not official, but everything's pretty much done.
We got the here we go, which is the closest we can get.
Both candidates are very much eligible to be the worst side of the season, just as you selected. Time will only tell if they are. I apologise for doubting you.
I'm the Oracle.
I'm so annoyed. But on the topic of transfers, it's again. Right, okay. Mike, I'm going to let this finish off because I like this one. But Mike is making a change to his pre-season predictions. There we land, because it's a swap deal involving the 2 to watch category. Nicholas Fulcrook has been replaced by Aaron Ramsdale at Southampton. I don't think I've ever actioned a swap before, but if a new player is signed after the episode, we are allowed to swap them in. That is the rule. So Ramsdale joins Pedro Neto as the 2 to watch this season. Simple as that.
That's fair.
You think he's going to do well? Is it
I think
Southampton signed for?
I think he's going to get the Pickford treatment, where he faces so many shots, everyone goes,
yeah, he's bound
"He
to
is
make a
top
good
class."
save at some point.
Yeah, and then he gets
it's a good
back
call.
into the England squad proper. That's what I think will happen.
I like that. Good prediction.
So anyone can make changes. We can go through them Monday if anyone drops them.
I don't have to, because apparently I'm clairvoyant. So
to be fair, that is still blowing my mind how you did that. I mean, fair play. I've got nothing but it was just when Ugarte went through and I was like, oh, bollocks, I'm going to have to give him
when that happened, I was like, yes. I'd seen the rumours and I was like, Jorge Mendes knows how to pimp out his players. Like, surely he would go in.
Ollie was celebrating more than Man United fans are.
Yeah.
I celebrated Ugarte going to United more than Felix coming to us. Let's put it that way.
What is hilarious is some of the tweets, because I was talking about it, obviously I was like, oh, I cannot believe this is happening. People were just going, why do you give a shit? I was like, clearly you don't listen, because you get it.
Yeah.
Right, time for that match report, sponsored by Fancy Napkins, because Servette 2, Chelsea 1, winners and losers, and we kick off with the winners as always. Who we got? How many have you got?
I've got 2.
Same.
I've got 2.
I'm going to have to lead with this one because you'll find out why I said back earlier in the show. So my first winner, the biggest winner of the night for me was Trevor Chalobah. Because, and I'm going to read what I wrote because I might as well. And he was a winner because he secured a move away from this circus. But what did I say? I put, he doesn't need to do anything right now other than train and be a top professional like he has been. Because 2 of those defenders will play him back into the squad in no time. Yeah. And why did I think that? Well, I thought Tosin was fine. He was fine. There were not many glaring issues where I'd be like, ugh. Because 2 of us, Disasi and Badashil, they were tragic. And I mean, they were tragic.
Yeah, French connection wasn't working.
I have no idea what has happened to Badashil since that injury, because he's not even a shadow of the player he was. He just looked lost. He allowed, at times I'm looking going, I was like, you've got too much space around you. What are you doing? And Disasi just struggled. He just struggled the whole game. And the fact that I think, why would, like, no disrespect, but Newcastle are going, what have you seen? To think, yeah, we'll take him. Like, maybe if you think, oh, he's broken, I can fix him. But
in fairness, though, they have no protection around them. So the midfield doesn't help. I don't think the system overly helps in terms of protecting. I think Disasi at Newcastle would actually be really good because they defend a little bit deeper. They're more compact. Yeah. He's more protected. And I think we've seen
player
last
as well,
season,
sort of big brute, you know.
Yeah. And I think you've seen last season with Disasi, like when we played like that, those was his best games. I don't think him or Badiashile are going to be good enough in the way Maresca wants to play. I don't think it necessarily means they're terrible players. I just think they're not going to be suited to this because they're too exposed and they're not good enough defending 1v1.
Yeah. I genuinely watched that last night and I thought Trevor's got a chance here because I think everyone would say that he's better than at least 2 of those 3. Probably above Tosin. I
I think that there'd be an
yeah.
there would be a not insignificant amount of people who would say he was better than all three of them.
Yeah,
It's
they'd be right.
Yeah, they would. But I mean, that's why I had Trautlebe as a winner. And of course, because it's deadline day.
This is why I hate it.
Oh, here we go. Nizar Kinsella. So it's a very respectable journalist who said Arsenal have now opened talks with Chelsea to sign Raheem Sterling on loan.
Oh, I love it.
So I think that means Sancho's come in.
Oh yeah, no. I think we'll almost certainly get Sancho now. I think it's about whether Osimhen gets over the line or not.
Oh,
Here's a question, genuine question: is Jadon Sancho better than Raheem Sterling?
No.
Is it an upgrade, or is it another
know.
Dewsbury Hall situation?
No, if I'm totally honest on Sancho, we don't need him. We don't need him at all. On the right hand side, we've got Noni and Palmer. On the left hand side, we've got Felix and Mudryk and Neto. Behind the striker, you got Palmer and you got Nkunku and you got Felix, all who can play behind the striker. So you've got at least 2 or 3 people ahead of him. I think maybe not Mudryk on the left. It depends, but
Ornstein's now confirmed it as well. He's put up that Arsenal have open talks on loan if they can find a compromise. He does need to agree personal terms. That's not going to be a problem though.
Needs to somehow get an option or an obligation off, or with a certain set of parameters. I think because a dry loan won't help us.
I wonder how that works. That doesn't make. That's always curious. They want to sign him on loan, but he needs to agree to personal terms. How does that work with a loan? Because surely it's just the clubs have to decide what percentage.
Well, I guess he has to decide he actually wants to play. For them to start with, but I think at this point he would pick them over us, wouldn't he? So
true. Chris, who's a winner? Who's a winner?
My first winner is quite kind, I think, but he did show glimpses in the game. Nkunku.
Oh,
I thought of the players that started, he was probably the best. Still not anywhere near a great level, but I thought there was times in the second half where he showed real quality, receiving the ball, setting up chances, little movements he was making off the ball to make himself available for passes. He looked the most lively of the forward players, I thought.
Well, he scored.
Yeah, he scored a penalty, yeah. Another good pen, to be fair.
It was a very good penalty. He's kind of becoming one of them players where he puts the ball on the spot and I don't need to worry. It's nice because as much as we love-hate relationship with Jorginho, I'd still hate watching his penalties because I think,
I agree.
Ollie, who's a winner?
Really simple one for me. Tyreek George, full debut. For the club. We all know he's a great talent. When he came on, looked lively, did a few things, wasn't sort of superly overly involved or anything, didn't make any massively great moves or whatnot, but looked confident on the ball, made a few things happen, and hopefully a nice amount of minutes for him to build on, and hope to see him more this season.
Yeah, for sure. I'll fully back that. I'll round off my winners. Technically, it's 2. It's a duo of winners to close out from me. And it's Greg and Chris. You know you are, on the Discord. They're winners because I found out when we were talking that Greg missed the game because he didn't realise it was a 4:30 a.m. kickoff down in Australia. So he got to sleep through it. Chris went out. Chris went out on a run with friends. And to be fair, that's even better because you got to spend quality time with your friends. You got some exercise and you missed the Chelsea game. And to be fair, it was one of those games, from my perspective, that if my dentist called me up and said, "Do you fancy a random root canal, no anaesthetic?" I'd probably think, maybe why not? It was. I just didn't enjoy the game, as you can tell. Chris, who's your final winner?
My final winner is a Servette player.
Oh, God. Go on,
Gerrit Katessa.
Yeah, he was good actually. He was
left winger.
He was doing everything.
Yeah. I thought over the 2 legs, he was the best player on the pitch in both games, which says a lot about the way we played, by the way. But it reminded me a lot of when we played Bâle when Salah was there, and when we played Genk when Kevin De Bruyne was there. Like, those players stood out in poor teams. He's 26, I think he is, so he's not as young as those two were at the time. But I wouldn't be shocked if he put himself in a shop window with the 2 games against us for, lower to mid-table Premier League clubs having a look, because his record in Switzerland as well isn't that bad. But I thought he was a really lively player. He looked livelier than our forwards did. So
he's the sort of
I
player
thought he had a really good couple of games.
Sort of player that someone like a Watford would take a punt on, and he'll have like 3 months where he's like the best winger on the planet.
Yeah, well, Brighton.
I must say, I love that guy's name, just because it gave me flashbacks to when I was like younger and I'd watched the Barefoot Contessa TV show, which was Ina Garten's cooking show. So for me, I was like, every time I heard it, I just kept thinking of that. So yeah, I didn't. Honestly, that's all that gave me joy. Small things from last night's game.
Do you know who else was actually good for Servette? Was their number 3, their right back, Japanese. He was
yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Tsunomoto.
The player for that. That was him. Yeah, he
Except
was
for the
really
penalty.
good. Except for the penalty, but everything else he did, I thought he was really assured.
Yeah.
I was quite impressed by him.
Yeah. Well, Ollie, who's your final winner?
My final winner is just the fact that we went through. We did it. We did what we had to do. We scraped over the line with a C-, and we did it. So at least we are now through. So we get to go on those brilliant away days to Kazakhstan and Ireland and Greece and all that.
Yeah, that's 100%. I agree with it. I agree with that fully. This isn't breaking news. I've just seen that Billy Gilmour, here we go to Napoli. So he's making moves. Look at that midfield of McTominay and
surely now they need the money to recoup that 7 million quid.
It's just so bizarre. If you'd imagine, if someone had said to me, Billy Gilmour and McTominay are going to play together, I'd think, well, that's either at West Ham
or Scotland
or Man United. And you're just like, no, you're going to be shocked. So losers, I think we've all found 3 apart from someone.
Actually, I found 4.
Oh,
I've got 4 as well.
Oh, wow.
Makes up 6 overall, though. So
it does.
Yeah,
the rules are fair. The rules are fair. I've just let the team down by, technically, I'm just going to say Greg and Chris were 2 separate winners. So, what was my first loser? Well, it was the pitch. It was the pitch. Because I always try to watch the game back the next day just to see if I've missed something. Perhaps, maybe I was a little harsh on a judgment in the eye of the storm that is the game. And it was the second goal from Servette. That caught my eye because the ball goes into the box and Jorgensen's foot is caught in the ground. And it prevents him from making the save to stop the header that leads, obviously, to the goal.
It was stuck in the AstroTurf, wasn't it? He still did get a hand to it.
He did. But that made me actually think, it just brought to my mind the lack of quality to the actual pitch before kickoff. And now looking back, I'm kind of glad that we just came away with 0 injuries, because it's that quick turn of movement from obviously his leg, and that can rupture an ACL and MCL. You get the idea there, listener.
It was worst for the goalkeepers though, because they had that stupid AstroTurf.
It was just one random section.
Goal mouth. Yeah, but what I do want to say, I want to push back on you just a little bit, Mikey. That the pitch, it wasn't great. It wasn't carpet, was it? But it wasn't absolutely horrendous. Like, I think that we're going to play in worse pitches than that in the Conference League this season. So, like, I don't feel like we can use it, not as an excuse, but, like, I don't want to use it as the reason that we haven't performed well, because it feels a bit...
I think we'll struggle by playing on them pitches.
You might be right, but I don't think it should be an excuse to.
I mean, it comes back to... It's not an excuse, but... It's the way it's just the way.
It sounds like it though, doesn't it? When someone goes, "Oh no, we lost because the pitch was shit."
I know, but when we play the football we do, which is always on the ground, that's why the Premier League has the likes of Man City and all that, because of the pitches. They're just pure. They're pure crystal gold. And I mean, the one thing that I did wonder was, what's the quality control procedure handed out by UEFA that actually allows that to be played on? Because it was dangerous. It was patchwork. And for me, it was embarrassing, because when you zoomed out, it kind of looked like they'd just gone round each of the players' houses and borrowed some of their lawn. I mean, like you said, that grass that was the penalty area was was
bad.
That was a different length
bad
to the rest of the pitch.
It was like a weird AstroTurf thing. I think that's why Jorgensen caught his foot in it.
How could it be a different length?
Yeah,
come on.
But I think, I do think people are over egging it a little bit just with the rest of the pitch. In my opinion,
it was shocking. It was shocking.
My first loser is, we all know, isn't it? It's the left-hand side that we were playing with against Servette. And when I'm talking about the left-hand side, yeah, I am kind of talking about Badish a little bit, but I'm mainly talking about two people in particular, and that is Mikhailo Mudryk and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. I've sat down before the show and I wrote a few things down here. I wrote down a list of things that I think have more of an attacking impetus and more of a general danger and threat level than those two combined. I've got a newborn kitten in the rain, a bowl of plastic fruit,
No.
Enzo Maresca's shampoo, a pillow wrapped in bubble wrap locked in a vault, a beanbag chair, a radio shaped like a teapot, and my mum's homemade soup. So basically, nobody was. They were just both really, really poor. Passes were being misplaced. They just were offering absolutely nothing between them, and just the pair of Chuckle brothers yesterday.
Wow. What do you think, Chris?
He is right. They was both terrible, and against poor standard opposition, where these sort of players should be standing out and they should be seizing their opportunity and thinking, this is my chance to really stake a claim. Neither of them did that.
Kiernan Dewsbury Hall in particular, I thought was the worst player on the pitch. I thought he
weren't great, was he?
He was genuinely like attacking, defending. It didn't matter what he was trying to do. It was absolutely dreadful, and it's a real concern for me because with every game that he keeps playing for us, it makes me think more and more that he is just not our level, and that we signed him just to kind of sweeten the deal to help the Maresca through the door and all the rest of it. So
who could have seen that coming?
Not us, shit. Yeah, surely not us. But yeah, I thought they were both really, really poor yesterday, and they really didn't cover themselves in glory at all.
What about you, Chris? Who's a loser?
My first loser is just attitude in general.
That was one of mine.
Yeah.
Oh, we've technically all agreed that. I'll explain mine in a minute. Go on.
Yeah, the attitude of the players. A lot of them look like they don't want to be there, acting like this competition is beneath them. Most of these players have won absolutely jack all. So how they're looking down on a competition, I think, is comical. The players who come in, who are only really being given chances in the Conference League, that's your opportunity to stake a claim for the Premier League team, and they're not doing that. And the attitude of the fans as well. Some of the fans who seem to think that we're too big for the Conference League. But the reality is, as a club, yes, we are way too big to be in this competition. But as a team, we're not. As a team, we're not. These two legs have shown that the level of this team is Conference League. We wouldn't win the Europa League. We'd get grouped in the Champions League. So don't even worry about the Champions League. We wouldn't win the Europa League. So the Conference League is our best chance of winning something. It's the easiest trophy we can win that we're in, the competition that we're in this season. So I have no idea why the players don't seem to be taking it seriously, because I watched Roma win it and it didn't seem meaningless to their fans. You watched West Ham win it, and it didn't seem meaningless to their fans either. And you think, I don't understand why we seem to have this attitude. The players, the fans seem to have this attitude of, oh, even if we win it, it doesn't really mean anything. It's still a European trophy. Yeah, sure, it's brand new. It hasn't been going very long, and they've sort of made it up. But it doesn't matter. It's still a European competition. So I don't understand the whole attitude around it. I mean, it's boggling.
All things are made up, though. All things are made up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, you're quite right, Mikey. But the performance today and the effort level was absolutely embarrassing. The attitude of the team absolutely stank, didn't it? It really showed like they only really turn up when it suits them, and we've seen that as like a permeating thing in this Chelsea team for a long time now. And for me, it doesn't matter if it's a Conference League qualifier or the Champions League final. If you're not going to fight for the badge and you're not going to put that effort in, you shouldn't be here. That's the long and short of it. If you're not going to fight for the badge, regardless of the pitch, regardless of the players, regardless of the opposition, regardless of competition, you play for Chelsea first. You have to remember.
I had intensity. That was my second loser, but attitude falls in because Chris has literally read it off word for word. I did give him some credit. I went, it could be down to the quality of the pitch. However, hear me out. However, this leg was a very clear example when it comes to a lack of intensity, because you're all right. I got the vibe that we as a team showed zero respect to Servette. I didn't see no one show respect. And you could go, well, does it matter? No, we looked at this as an easy game. It's a walkover. And this leg especially, the first leg maybe not, but this leg, I saw a team that treated it like a training session. Dramatically different to how we played against City and Wolves. And I could count 6 players off the top of my head who looked like they felt they were too good to be playing there. And this is not, I'm going to put this out here actually, this is not a Maresca issue. This is a Chelsea thing, because the one thing about this Chelsea side I've noticed over the last few years, we play to the level of our competition.
Yep.
We need to stop that, because we will get destroyed.
Yeah, do you know what? You are right, because if you look at it, the teams that we're going to be playing, realistically, over half of them are like nobody teams. They are teams who we should beat comfortably. But if you go in with that attitude, what these players don't seem to understand is what they see as a nothing throwaway. Oh God, we've got to play that, have we, on Thursday night?
The biggest game of every single one of those teams this season.
It's not even just the biggest game of their season. For those players, it's the biggest game of their life.
Yes, or at least like of their careers so far.
And that's what that's what we are going to face. When we go and play Noah, those players are going to be thinking, Jesus Christ, we're getting to play against Chelsea here. Shamrock Rovers the same. You know what I mean? These players aren't going to turn up and think, oh, well, who really cares? It's only the Conference League. It's going to be, it's the equivalent of their Champions League final. And that's what we're going to face. So if we turn up with a bad attitude, I don't care how much quality you've got, teams can beat you.
What is it, that famous phrase that people say, that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That is so true.
And it was just really telling. Like, and even though that we went through, and people are going to say, "What are you complaining for?" Because we went through. Like, at the end of the day, that was one of the laziest performances I've ever watched a Chelsea team put out. Yeah, probably since the Sarri days.
If we set up, say when we play Noah, if we set up and play to that level, with respect, they're going to literally be the arc. They're going to just float above us. They're going to rise, and we're
going to drown. Yeah.
We need to stop it.
And that's the thing as well, is momentum. Like, we had so much momentum from that win against Wolves. Yeah. Everyone was buzzing. The vibe around the club was good. Everything was positive for once.
Yeah, you're right.
And then all it's taken is a midweek game against a bad opposition and us really not being bothered to put a shift in for the whole narrative to change again.
100%.
These players don't understand that they need to be putting in the effort every week, because them doing well and them putting in the effort sustains them doing well, because the fans will continue to support them.
And you know what it is? I've brought this up before, that this is the difference between playing for Chelsea and playing for Brighton. So these players, a lot of them haven't come from big clubs where they've had this sort of experience, where they're under the microscope every single game. If you swap it over and Brighton had gone and they'd won that qualifier 3-2, but they'd lost the second leg 2, you wouldn't have heard about it. No one would have been talking about it.
No one would have cared.
When Chelsea do it, it's a headline, because your standards are so much higher just because of the badge that you've got on. So that's what these players need to understand. That it's the same with if you're at Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal. If you lose a game, it doesn't matter. We could have won the first leg 5-0 and we go over there and lose 1-0. It's still a headline, because you shouldn't be losing, because that's the standard of the club that you're at. And that's the difference when you play for a big club and a mid-table club. You're not under the same scrutiny you are. But when you go to a club like Chelsea, you have to perform every single game. There's no excuses.
Yeah. You support the they have to support the name on the front of the shirt by playing, and we'll support the ones on the back.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Oh well, this is bizarre. So, L'Equipe are reporting that David Washington's £17 million move to Strasbourg has collapsed. How does that happen? It's your club. You own the club.
Internet banking's down.
How do you?
Fax machine wasn't working. Oh,
you can't move money from one account to another.
It doesn't make any sense. It's the one transfer you'd have gone, that's done.
Bowley sat there trying to remember his one-time password. So, no, it's not that.
Oh, my word.
He can't remember his secret answer.
Yeah.
Which of his players? Which is your favourite player?
Damn.
Right. Clue. They're under 23. Oh,
we are the only club that could fail at selling a player to themselves.
Right, Ollie, round off your losers for us.
All right. So my last two losers. The first one's kind of connected to the intensity and the effort, and that was the passing. Passing was really lazy. It was really poor. Every other pass we made, it felt like was cut out by the Servette players giving a shit while we didn't. And that shit doesn't run. So we'll remember that for the future. And my last loser was Jorgensen. I've thought about giving him a pass because of the bad turf. But we don't accept Klopp level excuses on this show. So I thought for the first goal as well, it's low down to his right. I feel like if he takes even a half step forward, he probably saves it. And then for the second. It's an all right finish. The second one, it is a good header, and he does, and like you say, he does kind of get his foot caught, but he still gets a hand to it. That's the thing for me. He still could have saved it, and he didn't, and it was a kind of a weak-wristed sort of something and nothing save. And I'm just like, the Conference League is his stage to perform, right? It's his alone. Sanchez isn't going to take this away from him. So he has to perform when he is there. It might sound harsh because there were a couple good saves he made, although they were mainly to offside chances. But I just think he didn't cover himself with glory. He didn't make me think after that game, yeah, you're definitely going to replace Sanchez this season.
Chris, who's your final losers?
Well, I had Jorgensen as well, for the same reasons as Ollie, really. And I wasn't going to put him in the losers list until there was one late in the second half where the cross came into the box and he screamed keepers and Tosin still headed it away anyway. And it almost cost us because they sort of clashed into each other. And I thought it just reminded me back to when Kepa was in goal at Anfield that time. And you could just tell that the defence had no confidence in him whatsoever. So even when he called it, they headed it away anyway. So that's a slight worry for me.
His passing wasn't great either, was it?
No.
Like, the whole team wasn't.
He looked quite nervous, I thought. I thought he looked quite uneasy all night. It was
them Servette ultras.
Yeah. Them fireworks on nervous.
Yeah, they did stop the game temporarily, didn't they?
It was the pyro, wasn't it?
Yeah. My third loser is Mark Gue.
Yeah, he wasn't up to snuff, was he?
I mean, Jesus. If the miss in the first leg was bad, his performance was worse in the second leg. He is, I think I said this in the group last night, he's the best pressing striker I've seen. But he's got no quality then to back it up when he actually wins the ball back. So he wins the ball back and inevitably gives it away again.
So what you're actually saying, Chris, is he's a fullback.
Yeah, maybe. I think he's just showed over these two legs that he's not ready. He's not ready to be a backup, even a backup to Jackson. I just
remember when people were calling him to start.
If you can't perform,
isn't playing over him. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, if you can't perform in these games, then what hope has he got for doing it in the Premier League?
Very fair.
My last loser is fans who think a striker solves all our problems.
It doesn't.
Because all I keep hearing about is if we get a striker, we can get top four. If we get a striker, we can get top four. They even said it on the commentary last night, like, if you put a top striker there, then, he converts that chance and we don't lose the game. Great. But if people think bringing in a striker is going to stop us from shipping two goals on average a game, then you're crazy, because they're not going to stop us doing that. And it doesn't matter how many goals you score. If you're leaking goals at the back, you will lose games, because you are going to have times where you have a game where your forwards miss chances, or you play against a team who's got a really stubborn backline that you just can't get through. But we are just conceding far too many goals. You know what? The stupid thing is, signing a top-class centre-back solves more of our problems than signing a top-class striker does.
Yeah. People say it, don't they? Defence wins championships, and if we don't shore ours up, we're going to be in the championship.
100%. I've got to hit a little bit of a developing story. So, we all know that David Washington's move has collapsed. It is due to... it didn't say threat, it said concerns that the move was going to be investigated by UEFA.
It definitely would have been,
because everybody knew what it was.
Yeah, that's probably. So I've got my final loser, and for the second time this season, it is the return of things that are more value than a Chelsea UEFA Conference League playoff.
It's
second
my favourite part of the week.
Eunice Miata points out on Twitter that for just £1 more, though, than the $4.99, you can get a 1-year membership with voting rights by joining the Chelsea Supporters Trust. So I included that because, yes, 100% had to include it. It's well worth signing up. Just do it. Worth every penny.
Buy a pitch owner share if you can.
Exactly. On to my selections. So first up, we have for 30 pence a 250 milliliter bottle of Imperial Leather Body Wash, Mandarin scented, so you can shower and also smell like your favourite fruit all at the same time.
Not only that, you can get 10 of them for less than
exactly. Exactly. Hey, look, you might be thinking, I don't like orange. Well, this line has been discontinued, so that's probably because people don't want to smell like an orange. There you go. Second, I found some old school stink bombs for just 99p, which they're guaranteed to make they're guaranteed, I promise you, to make your boring Monday morning at work a lot more exciting. They do come, though, with some warnings, which I feel that we have to read out. Safety first. You've got to keep away from eyes and face, keep away from animals. Do not open the package. Do not put in your mouth. Do not eat. And do not put in your pocket. There you go.
So don't use.
Don't use them.
It's one of them, isn't it? It's like that's just a do not sue us warning, isn't it?
Yeah.
And finally, what if I told you that you could become a musician? Well, for just 50p, and it was reduced from £4, you can buy a pink Norwich City branded tambourine.
I love it.
It's awful to listen to and even worse to look at. And it's only available at Carrow Road. You can't buy it online. I read it. It said you have to pick up, reserve in store.
Well, do you know what I say to that tambourine? Let's be having you.
It's beautiful. Nice. Well, I believe the game was free to show on the app at some point. Someone told me as well.
They made it free because
it was shit.
There were so many. Yeah, it didn't work, so they made it.
Are we on about the team or the app?
It's both.
Oh dear. We would move on to the emoji game review, but I've just had an email. We very rarely get this whilst we're recording. A review dropped in, and it's made me laugh. I've got to read it. It's a 1 star. But it will make everyone chuckle. It says, "Know it all, Chris, and his ultra negativity." So I'm going to read this. The most depressing pod on Chelsea. There are some really good intellectual conversations, but in the guise of having an opinion, all that the panel especially Chris does is spew negativity. Every single sentence from Know It All Chris is negative. It's a pain to listen to.
Know It All Chris.
To be fair, it's not the worst nickname I've ever had.
Yeah.
You don't need context. Introducing.
It's been called a lot worse than that, folks.
Know It All Chris. And you just go, oh, wow, he knows a lot. We don't need the context behind it.
He literally knows it all.
What are we dropping for this emoji? Because I don't know.
I've gone with the wave emoji because it's going to be sink or swim in the Conference League. And at the moment, it's looking like we're going to sink.
Yeah.
I'll go with the snoring emoji. I thought it was another bore fest, wasn't it?
You know what? I'm going with you on that because you could see how much effort I put into the emoji. I thought, yeah, it's the same.
It was a bore fest permeated with like spates of anger.
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah.
That is a good point. Yeah. So, Lion of the week. Come on, sound drop. The developing story. Oh, whatever. I'm just going to move to. There is a sound drop coming at some point, but anyway. Lion of the week, our midweek picks. Well, it's really not loading. It's not having a good day, is it? Oh, there it was. There it was.
Yeah. It's more like a birth than a roar.
It was a little lion mew because you weren't very good.
It's a great shot. Oh, it's that. Oh, it's a Fabrizio. Yeah, I guess. Well, once the soundboard loads. See, we're not having a great day on deadline day.
You know what I mean? This is what it is with deadline day. The show becomes a fucking mess.
It's an absolute
farce on deadline
absolute
day.
disaster. Absolute
If
disaster.
anyone's still listening, I'm absolutely astonished.
Well, there is a breaking news coming, but Fabrizio Romano has tweeted that Raheem Sterling's reached. There you go. Yeah, he's reached an agreement anyway with Arsenal over personal terms. It's now between the clubs. They're open to solutions. Raheem wants the move. Of course he does. Arsenal are going to win the title.
Of course he does.
We don't.
Yeah, exactly.
A week ago, he was told he wasn't playing. Of course he wants to.
Yeah. I love how that works again. Anyway, Lion of the week. Midweek picks. I had Madueke because we swapped out, if you didn't know, listener, because our players weren't even in the squad. Chris had, he was shit. Berth had Mudryk, who actually was fine.
No,
fine.
He was shit.
He was... whatever. No. Chris, you had Gu.
Awful.
Ollie had Vega.
He was all right.
And the wheel chose Jorgensen. I think Ollie, we have to pick a winner every week.
Yeah, I think Ollie wins that.
I think Ollie wins that.
That's a bit of a white elephant, that one, isn't it?
Yeah. What? Who do you think was the actual best player? Because we have to pick one. I
think you have to pick Nkunku on the basis he scored and no one else did anything.
Yeah.
There you go. No one's took the lead yet. They're all on joint one. So, well, we take on Palace this weekend. Who are we choosing?
I'm going to choose Cole Palmer.
Good shout.
I think he's going to be upset that we lost to Servette. I don't think there's too much going on up in his head other than football. So hopefully he'll just be mad and put on a good show.
We're at home, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That helps.
I'm going to go with Nicholas Jackson.
Oh.
I think eventually he will score a goal where he's not marginally offside.
I love it.
You never know.
The wheel has chosen Mark Gu. So,
unlucky wheel.
Well.
Unlucky folks. As we all know, listeners, you are the embodiment of the wheel. So you picked you. Well done.
Unlucky.
I'm gonna double down from my Wolves prediction and go João Felix again.
That's fair enough. He got a goal last time out, didn't he?
Yeah. And Berth's picked Bettinelli, right?
Yeah. Berth's only picked twice, bless him, but he's
Has
had
France
the organ.
been said?
No, not yet. I feel that's a classic. No, pick France. So there's our Lions. Right, so I'm gonna whip out my phone to see what the questions are shot of. See, it's a mess. It's a mess this episode.
Oh my God.
Right, so
people say we're negative, but we do have some good laughs on this show.
Yeah. Well, does Josh Thompson, does the Palace game on Sunday excuse today's seemingly lifeless performance?
It depends how we play against Palace.
Depends how we play, yeah.
That's true. Bizarro Harry, was it a mistake to send Leslie away on loan considering how thin we are in central midfield?
Him or Santos, yeah. I think one of them should have stayed.
Very, very strange decision.
NJ Brand, is it clear Maresca's priorities? Seems like standing in the Premier League is it, and Conference League is warm-ups.
It seems like it.
Yeah,
like we're treating the Conference League as a bit of a sideshow. Yeah, we probably are, to be honest, because Enzo knows if he doesn't perform in the league, then he's gone at the end of the year, even if he wins the Conference League. So,
but it is crazy though, isn't it? Because remember when Mourinho first came in and how much stock he put in winning that first League Cup.
Yeah, it mattered dramatically
because it's so important to win that first trophy. So, I think if Maresca got a little bit more serious about this competition, we could finish 6th, 7th in the league. But I think if he wins the Conference League, that buys him another season.
Yeah, it would, I think, especially because that gets you Europa League. So it's just like the idea of progression.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point, actually. You're right. Right, we have Keith who's asked, how has Big Ben not been loaned yet? He's a complete different player. It's crazy. Yeah, I agree. It's just who would take him. It's damaged goods almost because the player's not in good form, and it's very rare for a club to go, oh, we'll have that player because they're not in good form.
Yeah,
He could go to Strasbourg.
He could.
I like him a lot. I don't know what's up with him at the moment. Like under Pottery, like he was able to sort of make passes, be really calm on the ball. He turned like there wasn't any gravity. Like he was really, really solid. And I don't know, maybe it's like Chris said, the midfield's maybe not helping him, and he's getting exposed out on that side, or maybe he's just turned shit, like all Chelsea signings eventually seem to do. But it's not going well for him, is it, at the moment?
Paulie's asked a good one, actually. What's more important right now, a new striker or a better, consistent mentality? Woo.
Mentality.
I agree. I
think
think we don't. I'll be curious what happens if we do bring in Osimhen. We'll discuss this on Monday, but I'd be curious what happens with Jackson because he was really good, and Osimhen's only gonna, he's gonna start.
I made this point though on Twitter in a conversation with someone that if you look at Villa as a prime example, you only need one player to hit near 20 goals in the league to compete for top 4. Villa had that with Watkins. Their other top scorers didn't get anywhere near that. We've got that already in Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
Who can get near those numbers. Nicholas Jackson wasn't a million miles away last season. No. So it's not like we haven't got goals in the team. It's not scoring goals that's going to be a problem. It's keeping them out of the other end.
I agree. I mean, that's a very strong point. Our defense has been absolutely shocking.
It really does annoy me though that people seem to treat Jackson like a Make-A-Wish kid, like as well.
Yeah, I know.
Like where it's like, come on, like it's not like our striker options are Gue and Broja, and that's it. Jackson got 14 non-penalty goals last season in his first season in the Premier League as a striker, first full season playing as a striker, which is almost unheard of in the Premier League. And people still just call him shit. I don't know.
It's also equal to Ivan Toney's best non-penalty goal season.
Right. There you go. And people were screaming for him
people
today, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, we move because it's back. Oh, yes. Right. Lone Army Carousel. You can see how old this one is because the category is the Community Shield. Because it was for when it was the opening Community Shield game, but we didn't do one. So that's why I thought I'd best force this in, crowbar it in. So the Community Shield is a traditional curtain raiser for the English football season. And it's come and gone. But can you name every club to win the competition since 1908? And it's not up to date, so I'm going to have to update the spreadsheet now because somebody went and won it because this is so old. So... how many teams are there? I didn't really count those either. Anyway,
hang on, when did you say since 2003?
No, what? No, 1908.
1908. Sorry.
Bloody hell! Hasn't been going.
Wasn't listening. This is what happens. You start to do the carousel instructions. We stop listening, and then we get confused.
Yeah, it's so true.
So I'll let you kick it off, Ollie.
Man United, they just won it.
Well, they didn't just win it, no, but they are on there 21 times.
Well, well, they kind of just won it.
Well, they didn't.
It lasts like 10 years or so. Like in the scope of the scope of the competition, which goes back to 1908, apparently.
Yeah.
Chris, because I know your answer, who's the current champions of the Community Shield?
Man City.
Yeah, that's right. Man City won on penalties, 7-6.
Yeah, well, I'm saying they won it in the last 10 years, United, haven't they?
Well, but the way it sounded like you were saying that they won it last time.
Ah, no, that's definitely
That's what we were all thinking. We're back in the room now. Right, it's back to you, Ollie.
Chelsea.
Chelsea 4 times. Only 4. Last one in 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
Arsenal.
17 times. Last one in 2023. Against
Liverpool.
us. Liverpool is 16 times. Last one in 22.
Leicester.
Leicester twice, and the last time was 2021.
I'm going to go with Spurs.
Spurs 7 times, last time in 1991.
Long time.
Everton.
Everton 9 times, last one in 95.
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa
Good
once, last in
wow.
1981. 81.
Okay, I thought they'd have been nailed on
Jesus.
for a few of them.
Just thinking of other big clubs, because if Villa's only won it once, then I'm assuming people haven't won it very many times now. Leeds.
Leeds United twice, last in 92.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to go with Forest.
Nottingham Forest once in 78.
Wolves.
Wolves 4 times, last time was 1960.
Newcastle.
Newcastle once in 1909.
Lucky.
You just got it in.
Christ. Portsmouth.
Portsmouth once in 1949.
Oh God, that was risky because I thought it might have been after they won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
See, this isn't fair because Chris remembers when the first game was played.
I was at the first ever Community Shield in 1909.
I'm going to go with Sunderland.
Sunderland once in 1936.
Good shout. West Ham.
West Ham once in 64.
Derby.
Derby County
good shout.
once 75.
It's getting really close.
If you wondered, Man United won the first Shield in 08.
Bolton.
Bolton Wanderers once in 58.
I'm going to go with Birmingham. Birmingham City.
No. Chris, you can win. You can win it here.
Blackburn.
Blackburn Rovers once in 1912.
Well done, Chris.
Get in up the Blackburn.
You could have had
Up the 1912.
Brighton, who last won it in 1910. Burnley, who won it in 1973. Cardiff was again once, last one in 27. Burnley won it twice, by the way. But Huddersfield once in 1922. Sheffield Wednesday once in 1935. And West Brom twice, and the last was in 54.
There's a fair few sort of Premier League clubs who've never won it.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like I feel I best do this.
I think it's a bit more. It's a bit more of a prize than people think, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a big 50p. But the content, I'll quickly run through the Hazard headlines because I wrote it up, so I might as well. So the clues for today's player that's in the headlines this week. Number 1, it's a player. This player has only played in 3 leagues during his career: Premier League, League One, and Serie A.
Is that in order?
I don't know.
When you say League One.
League One, as in League One, the one that's above League Two and below the Championship.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure.
It's just the worst pronunciation ever of Liga.
Yeah. Right. He has played with, at club level, Lewis Graben, Maicon, and Angel Di Maria. He shared the Premier League Golden Glove Award in 2013-14 along with Petr Cech, keeping 16 clean sheets. He started in goal for Arsenal in 2 infamous games in which they lost 6-0 to Chelsea and 8-2 to United.
Oh, who was it?
Hang
what
is his name?
Was it Almunia?
No. He was, 5th clue, easily, you've got it now. He was Poland's starting keeper at Euro 2024.
Szczesny. Yeah, he's retiring, isn't he?
Retired at the age of 34. He's an underrated gem for me because they essentially replaced him with Osimhen. That Arsenal, and then they brought in Cech, which for me still a mistake because I know
he was a player who managed to kind of like managed to beat the allegations of being a bit of a flappy goalie, didn't he? I thought his reputation only got better the older he got.
Yeah,
well, he pretty much
had to his career.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, he was on. Petr Cech joined and he was on the decline, let's be honest. Arsenal never learned about purchasing our old players, but still a legend. But anyway, that's less about Cech. Szczesny spent 2 years on loan at Roma and then Juventus thought, we need a replacement for Buffon. And he was dominant. I mean, he was in the Serie A team of the season as recent as a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he was pretty good for them, if I remember rightly. Like you say, he played for Roma and Juve, didn't he?
Yeah, and it gave me. I got to go through all his old saves because I was curious, and I remember this one quite well. It was the one he made against West Brom in the Golden Glove season, where it's a shot. I think it's from Berahino, and it's sort of just deflected, and he manages to sort of shift his weight from one side to the other to stop it. And I think there's an interview where he says it's one of his favourite saves. It's just such a good save to seek out.
And of course, you know, he's also won one of the greatest accolades of all time. He's the best Polish keeper since Fabianski.
Oh yeah, remember when they had all that? Oh, that was an interesting time at us when they had Chesney and that was I don't think you ever see like two players from the same nation. Obviously, in
Did Fabianski play for Arsenal?
Yeah, he must have because they had at one point Fabianski, Chesney, and Vito Manone.
Yeah,
oh my God, yeah, Vito Manone.
Remember him?
Yeah, remember him. I don't know what he's doing. I'm just going to double check to see if we've missed any breaking news.
No, it'll happen in 5 minutes, Mikey. You know
that. There is a huge gap. There is a huge gap between Chelsea's offer of wages to Osimhen and what the player wants. And the Swift Pro Group, they're expecting that Raheem Sterling will be an Arsenal player by the end of today.
Yeah.
That'll be something to discuss on Monday.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, but we don't know what's going to happen, and you don't either, listeners.
We have no idea. So
listen in or don't, and just look at the news tomorrow.
Exactly. Right. Well, we'll find out what goes on. So that's the end of another episode. Thank you. It was a shit show, but treat yourself well. We'll be back on Monday. So till next time, that's going to be us signing off.
You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.